questions for Zach?
Great. Well, first, thank you to the NCAA and to Arkansas. I can't wait to get out on the field, but I already heard that the surface plays as true as can be. So it's going to be fun to get out there, guys. I'm proud to represent Indiana University. It's an incredible field this weekend with the 4 teams that are here. And I am super proud to be sitting with these 3 young women. It's been fun to watch them elevate our program. This is back-to-back-to-back trips. And these 3 are the main reason we're doing that. So we're excited about the weekend and looking for a packed house and a championship environment, exactly what you want for an NCAA tournament.
So questions for athletes, anything, go ahead.
Yeah, just for any of you, whenever you saw your name come across the screen that you were selected, saw where y'all were, just what were the, I guess, initial thoughts?
I think we were, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we were just relieved and excited. Like, I think we all knew that we should have been one of those 64 teams, but you just never know. And so I think once we did get to hear our name called, we were just excited and ready to keep playing for this week and then hopefully weeks after that.
Yeah, I mean, excitement. I mean, 3 times back to back to back is amazing. And just getting to experience it one last time in our last season is just awesome for us 3.
And I think leading up to that night, we were done playing on Thursday. And that was the first time the past 2 years where we had to wait a couple days. And so waiting that long was terrible and we hated that. But like Tay said, we didn't know for sure. So when we did see our name pop up, it was, the best feeling.
It's really impressive looking at y'all's offensive numbers. It seems like it's like once that machine gets going, it keeps going. What's it like playing in this offense where it's not just, on one person's shoulders?
Yeah, I think it's definitely nice knowing that if I don't go up and produce, I have people like Kinsey, Avery, you look up and down our lineup, you have people that have your back, even if, you're not having your best day, someone else is going to have your back. And then the day that you have your best day, maybe someone else doesn't. So I think we all work well together and all of our strengths go very well together.
Yeah, it's nice not having a gap in your lineup. And also it's great as a pitcher to have, offense behind you if you don't obviously have a great inning. So, yeah.
And hitting is very contagious. So when you see your teammates on base, you want to step up and do what you can for the team. And so when I'm hitting behind these girls, it, boosts my confidence level like that.
Coach is talking about what y'all have been able to build at Indiana. You're all 3 seniors, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you said it was anxiety inducing having to wait that long to see your name in the field, but to go 3 years in a row and to be the senior class that, y'all have kind of grown and done that, how rewarding is that to know what y'all have done with the program?
Yeah, I think it's like Coach always says, like she likes to say that we're the golden standard right now, like for years to come, like hopefully that this isn't just a, 3-time thing. It's going to be an every year thing. So everyone who's going to be playing for Indiana University, like, you're expected to make it to postseason every year. So it's awesome to be able to build that and be a part of that.
Yeah, it's definitely rewarding to, for our last season ever to go out with a bang. So I'm glad to be in the tournament for the bang, obviously.
And I'm thankful to have stuck it out all 4 years with these 2 by my side. We work hard every day. We've been through it all together, the ups and the downs. And yeah, like Tay said, this is the golden standard now. Like going forward, it should be a shock to not see our name in postseason.
And I'll end on this. Just what are your thoughts on Oklahoma State, your first opponent? What have y'all seen from them in your prep?
Obviously, they're a great team. They're coached well. They have a lot of great athletes, great pitching. But I think we go well against them. And knowing that we've seen Ruby, their ace, we saw her last year at Washington. So I think that'll be fun to, have a rematch with her, hopefully, and then just see what 2 great teams can go against each other and do.
Yep, we prepared well this weekend and this past week, and just again seeing her last regional as well. And they have a great lineup of hitters and just ready to attack and get to work.
It's going to be a bunch of gritty softball this weekend, that's for sure. And they're a gritty team, and I think whoever plays the cleanest on all 3 sides of the game will come out on top.
I guess for whoever wants to take this, you guys have faced some pretty good pitching in the Big Ten. There's some pretty good pitchers here in this regional. Just kind of how have y'all been able to maintain that kind of offensive consistency regardless of who's on the mound?
Yeah, I think it just has something to do with, for one, just our confidence up and down the lineup. And like I just said previously, like I know if I'm not having my best game, I'm going to have people behind me produce and do what, Indiana softball does.
you have any questions on Zoom for the student athletes? All right, well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coaches. Oh, sorry.
Get out of here.
Okay.
Get to work.
All right.
Yeah, you're- That's fine. They were doing a great job, right?
What do you liked about your team this year? What's made this group special?
Well, it's fun to watch the growth. These young women, I remember recruiting them and now they're seniors, and just to watch them sit up here, you get to see a look at them this weekend, but I got to be with them every single day. And then for us to have an identity, we know we hit. And we knew that was going to need to be a focus for us to be successful this season. And so to put a plan together and then for us to be able to execute it and be able to stay true to our identity, I think is really neat. So kind of one of our mantras is to keep calm, swing on. And our kids do that. It doesn't matter the game. If we got to win 20-10 or we got to win 2-0, we found many ways to win. And so I'm proud of this group to shoot your shot. And that's what life's about. Nobody's going to give you anything. You got to go up there, you got to prep, you got to put in the work, and then you shoot your shot. And these kids, they're a bunch of rats. They work hard and they've earned this. And so I'm proud that they get to rep the script and they get to be in the field. And we're excited to have an incredible weekend.
Pretty exciting matchup off the bat, that your offense versus Ruby, most likely for them. Just what's that prep been like and kind of getting ready for that kind of strength on strength?
Yeah, I think my coaching staff does an incredible job of putting a game plan together. And then we've had the time. So we didn't have to, kill it and put 3-4 hours together in a day. We were able to, get some rest. We were able to get in the weight room, stay in the weight room. And then obviously we do what we do, and that's hit. And so, with Ruby, you'll see a lot down in the zone. You'll see good velo. And so you crank up the hitting machines and you get after it. And, that's what we worked on this past week. And for us, they understand the game plan. They understand what it looks like offensively. And we're going to go up there and we're going to take our hacks. That's what we do well. We're going to pass the bat. Hitting's, like Kinsey said, is very contagious. And 1 through 9, we don't feel like we have gap traps. It doesn't rely on one kid to step up and perform. Any one of our kids, and I think one of the things that we excel at is 2-out hitting. All of a sudden, nothing could be shaking. And then all of a sudden we get, 1 on, somebody hits a double, we score from first, and we can roll with 2 outs. So we're super pleased with where we are, where we're coming out of the Big Ten tournament. We feel, the Big Ten has prepared us for a weekend like this, and we're ready to get rolling.
How has your program produced so many good hitters? I mean, that's clearly something y'all are doing right over there to get as many good hitters throughout the lineup as you have.
Well, hitters hit. So it starts with the recruiting process. You go out and you identify talent. There's only so many tools in the game. There's 5 tools in the game. So you're looking for athletes that can handle a stick, right? You're looking for athletes that either hit for power or hit for average. Maybe they run well. So regarding, depending on what your whole class is looking like, and then you fill the gaps, I think we've had consistency there in terms of attracting quality hitters. And then from there, the rats, they get in and they work on their craft. You have to work on hitting every single day. You have to invest the time. So our athletes are prepared. And then really it's a mindset. It's between the ears. That's what makes a great hitter. And so they know the approach at the plate. They know the game plan. We make every pitcher a 2-pitch pitcher. So what are we focusing on? There's only 6 adjustments in the game. So they know what adjustment we're going to do in game. There's only 3 or 4 timing mechanisms that you're going to do in a game. So they have that to lean on. So you just build the toolbox, and, and then you just, when they get to be around each other every day, great hitters make other great hitters. And so, that's our MO, that's our identity. That's kind of what we built, and that's what we've come to expect. We got to go out there and swing the sticks.
Last thing I'll ask is, these regionals are always interesting because it's such a, random pairing of teams usually. And I'm always interested. Are there any coaching tie-ins here, like any of these fellow coaches that have a history with, that it's kind of cool to be paired with them here?
Yeah, actually no history really. So looking forward to just coming out and making new memories, new moments. And, excited about the field, a lot of respect for every coach that's in this region. And, I think you're going to see some outstanding softball. So stay tuned.
Might be a little hurried research on my part, but it looks like the last time you were in Fayetteville, it was a different
Long time
ballpark,
ago.
a very long
It
time
was.
ago. Just maybe what are some of the challenges, you mentioned it in the open, of playing on a field that, y'all haven't seen before or haven't played on before?
Sure. I mean, there's no familiarity. And so you just got to get the slight edge. And we talk a lot to our team about staying day tight. You just stay in the moment, pitch tight. You try and win an inning. And so for us today, it's nice to be able to get out on the field and, we'll take it all in. We'll get throws to bases. We'll get reps on the infield to see, how the surface plays. And so we'll quickly get acclimated. And it's a beautiful ballpark. We love, that NCAA softball, D1 softball is just supported at such a high level. And so you're going to see great facilities. You're going to have a great crowd. So great championship atmosphere. And so I really don't have any concerns in terms of, even though we don't have familiarity with here, I do feel we'll have cream and crimson in the stands. So, our fan base will come out and support us. And, our players, it's 60 feet, turn left. It's, where the fences are. We got to look to bang the fences. Gaps are open. You want to shoot gaps. You want head high line drives. So it's all still the same concepts, right? You want, shin shots, instead of rollover amateur hour ground balls, so, regardless of the playing surface or where we are, it's the same game. And our athletes are super excited to get out and start playing.
And then as a staff, how do you kind of handle, the preparation for a regional that's a little bit different than kind of maybe what most teams handle series to series throughout the year?
Yeah, even my pitching coach was joking the other day. When we were going over Oklahoma State, she had just watched some film on the other two opponents as well. And it's like, you got to watch the most recent one that you're going to play because they all start getting a little bit jumbled. And that's where it's staying, really focused on what's important now. And that's how you win the day. And so we are super focused in the moment right now. Our opponents, Oklahoma State, we know what they do well. They probably know what we do well. It's a chess match. Who makes the best adjustments in game? As Kinsey mentioned, who plays the cleanest? You don't want to be given 4 or 5 outs an inning, right? And so you got to be able to take care of the ball. So, I trust my coaches and the preparation that we've done. I trust how we've prepared for this week, and we're excited to get out there and represent Indiana University.
Justin, you can go ahead.
Hey, Coach, Justin McLeod here. I got a couple for you. I want to start with this one. We could pull out any number of offensive players for you and ask about them, but I want to ask about Taylor Minnick specifically. I mean, her version of a down year last year, I think, was hitting 357, 358, something like that. What has made her specifically so steady on every side of the ball and just so sturdy for you for these last 3 years?
Well, I talked to her, Justin, first of all, thank you for all you do in the game. Appreciate the coverage. But, when you look at Taylor Minnick, she was a kid that was committed prior when I got the job at Indiana. And she used to occasionally come out to clinics on a Wednesday night. And I'd be like, oh, this kid can hit. And then you go to the national tournaments and this kid could hit. And so I was like, I can't let this kid get out of Bloomington, right? I mean, she's a hometown hero. And so we just started calling her. And eventually she flipped. And, I tell you, that was the best decision I could make, right, to pursue her because she's always been a hitter. And I think, some kids that hit that well don't put in the work. And we like to say that, if you're a worker, you're a rat. And we say that she's the president or the CEO of the rats because she works on her craft every single day. And then it's mindset. You look at some of her stats. If I don't know if you get a chance, whether it's on 643 or another mechanism, but 0-2, 1-2. When she has 2 strikes, she's one of the best hitters out there in the game. And that comes from the preparation. She's so confident because she's had past success and she prepares at a really high level. And so when you have the tools, when you're a rat and you have the mindset, that's when you get video game numbers. I mean, she's hitting for high average. She's got the doubles, 20 plus doubles. She's got bombs. I mean, it's impressive what she's been able to do with the stick.
And then we heard your players talk about, Sunday night, you weren't sure, but you had the confidence. I'm curious. I mean, that's the thing now. You're 3 years straight into the tournament. Have you seen a shift in their confidence after that first time getting in? You kind of get over that hump to now 3 years in a row. Have you seen a shift in the confidence for them as a perennial postseason team now?
Oh, absolutely. Not only confidence and hunger, but also expectation. This group expects victory. This group expected to be in. We educate them throughout the course of the year. It's the full body of work. You go out, you lose the first game of the season. So what? You got to get on. You got to make it up. We let them know when there's no more money in the bank, when you're playing on house money, and I think our group has done a good job of not riding the wave, not jumping off the cliff when you have a bad weekend. When you're playing a, 50, 60 game season, you just got to stay the course. You got to keep fighting. You stay in the moment. And they're very aware of what RPI is, what KPI is. We talk about that periodically. We sit them down, show them the numbers. And so even going to the selection show, we mapped it all out for them to say, hey, when you're watching, if you see these teams pop up, this is what it looks like. If you see these teams. And so they were well versed, and it's called active hope. There's a difference between hoping to get in. Active hope is you have a plan and you prepare a certain way, and it's the integrity of your way. And so we had active hope going into selection show. We also know that there's still a human element involved. It's like a jury, so it's still in somebody else's hands. But I would much rather have active hope over hope. Just like when you go to the plate, you have a plan. It's not hope I'll get a hit. It's an active hope of a process of how we approach the game, making a pitcher, a pitcher, making in-game adjustments, doing your in-game eval. That's all active hope. There's a process, and then that's how you win the day. So this group's hungry. This group's excited, and they're grateful. We're very grateful to be one of 64 teams that are playing this weekend.
And then last one for me, you actually hit on it. That opening game of the season you lost. And when you lose on opening day, a season can go some very different directions. Was there a certain message you gave your team after that game that kind of came through for you down the stretch to get you to this point of now being in postseason?
Yeah, it's the whole not riding the wave. And, here's the difference. My job is to manage the expectations of 18 and 22-year-olds, and I've raised some teenagers, and I know that can be a challenge at times. And, for them, they're looking at it like we lost the first game. Oh my gosh. When you have all these expectations coming in, you're expecting all this greatness, you're chasing history, all this before you. Whereas I've been coaching for almost 30 years. So I've won a lot of ways. I've lost a lot of ways. I know what a season looks like. It's like batting average. You can't worry about your batting average in January or February, right? You get to the end of the year and you look up and you see where it is. And so my message to them was our goals are still ahead of us. We're still on mission. Even though we lost that game, we're still on mission. At any point in time, if we had a detour, or we had a hurdle that we had to get over, I just had to get them back on, recalibrate them. I give them the keys to the car, but they start their own engines. I know where I'm heading. And that's my job as a coach, is to be able to, allow them to grow as young people, be able to get to a place where they can manage their emotions and their expectations. And, anytime they get a little bit off or a little bit below the line behavior there, I help them out. We partner together. And now we're sitting here in our third straight trip to the NCAAs.
Well, thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Go IU.